Hi, I'm Gordon from Camera Labs, and this is my review of the Fujifilm INSTAX Wide Link, a portable instant photo printer that connects to your phone over Bluetooth and prints any picture you have onto the largest Instax Wide paper. The printer costs around $150 or 130 British pounds. It's available in ash white or mocha grey, and it only works with Fujifilm's Link Wide app, and that's available for Android or iOS phones. The wide prints themselves work out about $1 or 85 pence each when bought in twin packs of 20 photos, which actually only works out a few cents or pence more per print than the smaller square or mini formats. Like all Instax formats, each cartridge contains 10 prints and everything needed to develop them, so there's no inks or any extras to worry about. But wait, a new wide product? It's certainly been a long time coming. Fujifilm's last wide product was the 300 camera 6 years ago, during which time we've only seen new mini and square products. So before going any further, let's put them all into perspective. Here's Instax Mini on the left, Instax Square in the middle, and Instax Wide on the right. All three measure the same height, that's 85mm for the paper or 62mm for the image itself, but obviously they vary in width. The actual picture itself is 46mm wide for mini, 62mm wide for square, and 98mm for wide, making wide just over double the width of a mini. And in case you were wondering, here's a Polaroid I-type print on the far right, where the image measures 78 by 78mm. Now that actually makes them almost the same total area, but with different shapes, square for the Polaroid and roughly 3x2 for Instax Wide, when that matches most DSLRs and mirrorless cameras with a small slice shaved off. Now the benefits of a phone-controlled printer over an instant camera are of course letting you choose the prints before making them, creating multiple copies if desired, and of course printing images from any camera, so long as they've just been copied onto your phone first. Now Fujifilm already had portable printers for the mini and square shapes that worked with your phone, but until now the missing link literally has been one for the wide format, seen here on the right. Now the Instax Link Wide completes the set, allowing you to print to whichever Instax format you prefer, and refreshingly there's actually not much price difference between them either. Note that each printer will only work with one Instax format though, so the Link Wide can only use the wide cartridges. Also note the SP3 in the middle is the odd one out, using Wi-Fi for communication versus Bluetooth for the mini and wide. I assume that a Link Square printer using Bluetooth will come in the future. In terms of operation, the Instax Link Wide on the right is essentially a bigger version of the Instax Mini Link on the left, and that model was launched 2 years earlier. Round the back are levers to open them up to load the film cartridges, but there's no physical window or shot counter to indicate that anything's inside, so be sure to check the app if you're unsure. Both employ built-in rechargeable batteries that are quoted to last for around 100 shots or 10 packs, although my own one lasted more like 3 packs, and they take about an hour and a half to recharge over a micro USB port. Yep, they've not updated it to USB-C on either model. There's only one button on each printer, the Instax logo itself, which you press to switch it on, and which lights up to indicate the printer's status. Like other Instax formats, the prints emerge almost immediately, then gradually fade into view, reaching full saturation around 90 seconds later. Okay, now for a demo, and I'm running the Instax Link Wide app here on my Galaxy S20 smartphone. This is the Android version, but there is of course also an iOS version available. Note that this app is different from the one for the Mini Link, so make sure you're using the right one. And the first step is to pair your phone with the printer. So I'm going to go into the Bluetooth settings, and it has already found this particular printer. You would have other ones listed here, say if you're at an event where there's more than one, but there's just one here. So I'm going to connect to that, and you can see that we are now good to go. Now the next thing that I want to show you while I'm under this settings page is the print mode options, because Fujifilm has now provided 2 different color and tone styles for your prints. Natural mode, which I'm going to show you here, produces that classic Instax style, that's very saturated contrast. You can see that if there's any highlights at all, they'll probably be blown out. And there's also a kind of vintage style to the colors. But down here is the new rich mode, same picture that I output with the rich mode enabled, and you can see here that they've toned down the contrast. It's a much kind of flatter tonal profile here, while also boosting the saturation so those colors are more vivid. I actually prefer the rich mode, so all of the pictures I'm going to show you from this point onwards were used with the rich mode. So let's get rid of these and actually look at how this app works in practice. So when you enter the app, you'll see the last picture that you printed. I'll show you this close-up image later on. And the first thing I'm going to do is go for a simple print. And this lets you browse the various folders of images on your phone. Now, these could be pictures that you've taken with your phone. They could be images that you've downloaded from websites, or in this case, a bunch of pictures that I've imported from a variety of DSLR or mirrorless cameras using lenses or exposures that would be impossible with an instant camera, and probably none more so than this shot I took of a total lunar eclipse with Brighton's i360 in front of it. And if you'd like to know more about how I managed to line these two objects up, or just take photos of the moon in general, I have a couple of tutorials that hopefully you would enjoy. Now, if you like this preview of the image and you're good to go, you can just click this print button straight away. But I'm going to use this as an opportunity to demonstrate these other options that are available, starting with edit. And what I can do here is use these sliders at the bottom to zoom in and out of the picture, or rotate it to absolutely any angle. Although if you're at this point you think, oh no, I just want it to be straight again, you can just tap this and it goes back to 90-degree intervals. And if you prefer, you can just use your fingers to drag it and push it around. But I'm going to rotate this into the landscape orientation, even though I took this in a portrait shape, but I quite like the way that looks on the print. We'll have that nice and centered. I am good to print now, but I'm just going to show you some of the filter options. So if we go to filter, we can have none at all, which I'm happy with here. We can go for black and white with the monochrome option, sepia tone for that vintage look, or we can go for an auto level option here, but I'm going to go for none at all. Next, I'm going to show you some of the corrections that are here. We have got brightness, contrast, and saturation, if you really want to play around with those colors. I don't. I'm quite happy with the way that looks. So finally, there's a text option. I can just put eclipse in here. And I can position that anywhere on the picture. But I think that's going to ruin that picture, so I'm going to get rid of that text and just print that as it is. So I click this button, and it will now send it to the printer. Now, this is going over Bluetooth, but because the picture is quite small by the time it's sent to the printer, because it's a fairly low resolution system, it actually goes across quite quickly. And then after a few seconds, the machine will start to print. Now, one of the great things about the Instax process is the printer doesn't actually mind how you're handling at this point. You could have it in your hand, you could have it in your pocket, you could have it slung over a shoulder. It is actually a very, very robust system. And the prints emerge very, very quickly. They take about 1.5 minutes to develop. So we're just going to leave that picture there to develop while I show you some other options. Okay, so let's go back to those pictures that I took. And down here is one of my favorite toasted sandwiches anywhere in the world. But hey, what if I actually want to show you where I managed to buy this sandwich? Well, this is where the QR codes come in. This is a really nice feature in this version of the app. You don't get this on the mini link version, and it allows me to actually embed a QR code, and I can position that anywhere on the image, and it can allow me to link to a website, to record a sound, to find a location, or even put in a secret message. So I'm going to take you through that process. So this sandwich was bought at none other than Kappa Cossain Dairy, which is a small shop in London's Borough Market. You can see it right there, and it really is the best that I've had. So in order for you to find that location next time you're visiting London, I'm going to turn this into a QR code. I'm just going to OK that, and I can position this anywhere on the image. So let's just pop it there, and hopefully you might actually be able to scan this using your phone. We'll see if that works. We can also change the color of the QR code, but I'm just going to keep it in the default here and say, yep, that's absolutely fine where I want it. Let's print that out, and we can move on to the next demonstration. And while I'm here, notice how this shot that I took earlier of that lunar eclipse is developing very, very nicely. They will gradually become more and more saturated, more and more dense, and that picture will begin to look really, really nice. Okay, so now let's see what other QR code options are available. So I'm going to go back to this, and you know what? How about a picture of me? Now, what I really want you to do is think, you know what, that's Gordon, that's that guy who runs the Camera Labs website. So let's go to the QR code option and have a link to a website. Now, as luck would have it, I actually have my website address already in the clipboard. So we'll pop that in the corner there and print this one out. Now at this point, you'll also notice in the top that it says I've only got one picture remaining. So once I've done this, I'm going to actually load another cartridge in there, and you can also see an indication of the battery life. I'm at about 20% charge on the unit itself. I've loaded a new cartridge, and as always the safety sheet comes out and we can get rid of that. Okay, back to the app, and I want to show you another type of QR code that you can do, and for that I'm going to go for this lovely picture of a cup of coffee that I took, and this was with a macro lens, so again it was a very difficult picture to take with an instant camera, but this time I'm going to go for an audio clip. Now the interesting thing about the audio clips is that they're actually stored on one of Fujifilm's servers, and they will keep hold of that for 2 years, but then it will expire. So you've got 10 seconds worth of audio to capture. So let's I think I'm going to go for one of my catchphrases. Let's try it out. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy my reviews, don't forget you can always treat me to a coffee. Cheers. Gonna OK that, and there's a QR code there. I'll just leave that in the corner. Now, I think this is a really fun application, being able to embed QR codes to audio files. There's also an option where you can do a text message as well. Okay, now it's time to have a look at some other options in the app, and for that I'm going to go for this shot here. Again, very absolutely impossible to do with an instant camera. It's a fisheye image that I took with a Canon sports camera while I was living in New Zealand. Now we can put a variety of stickers on there if we want, you know. Why don't we just go for a standard smiley and put it up here like it's the sun in the sky. Happy memories of those snowy mountains. And again, we can zoom in on this image, rotate it. Let's have it at a slightly jaunty angle to match the skier there. Returning to the front page of the app, you can see that there are various templates that you can also use. Insert your picture in there while you've got various birthday or anniversary greetings. There's all manner of options there, and you can also actually import your own text and or graphics and overlay that on pictures, and again resize that and do what you like. But just as a final part of this demonstration, I'm going to go for a collage print, and this allows you to obviously have more than one picture on the frame. So I'm gonna, I think, go for this option, and it allows you to just choose each picture individually. So for the wide one at the top, we'll go for this picture. This was a long exposure taken with a Sony full frame camera and an ultra wide angle lens. For this one here, why not go for a really nice shallow depth of field telephoto portrait on a snowy day. And for this one, how about an ultra wide angle picture of a castle? Very, very nice, right? I'm happy with that. And now again, we can add various graphics, QR codes, messages, anything you like, but I'm just going to print that as it is. And for anyone who wants to have a go at those QR codes, I'm just going to hold them a bit closer to the camera for you to try out. Try scanning that and see where it ends up taking you. And of course, coffee does help me produce these reviews, so if you do find any of them useful, you know what to do. Oh, just one quick note before I wrap up. While the INSTAX Link Wide printer is designed primarily for printing from your phone, it will also print directly from selected Fujifilm cameras over Bluetooth, and you can find that in their playback menu. Now, at the time I made this review, it was only supported on the XS10, and that had to be updated to firmware 2.1 or newer, after which you'll find a new menu option to send an image direct to the printer over Bluetooth. It'll also now talk to the smaller Instax Mini Link printer over Bluetooth too. Hopefully Fujifilm will add this functionality to more of its Bluetooth-equipped cameras in the future. Okay, as I wrap up this review, I'm going to show you a bunch of photos I printed with the INSTAX Link Wide, and again, most of these were taken with cameras, lenses, or using exposures that would be impossible with an instant camera. The INSTAX Link Wide finally delivers the impact of Fujifilm's largest instant format with the convenience and flexibility of a wireless printer. Any image you have on your phone, whether taken with the phone itself, copied from any camera, or simply downloaded, can now be printed on paper that's just over double the width of Instax Mini. And this alone could be enough to sell it to Instax Wide fans. But Fujifilm's also provided some fun extras, with the app optionally embedding QR codes in the corner that can link to websites, map locations, text messages, or even short audio clips. Now, text and audio messages are hosted on Fujifilm servers because there's just not enough data available in a QR code itself, and they do expire 2 years after creation, so you can't use them for archive, but they're still a lot of fun to play with. The only question is whether the format and price are right for you. If you're drawn to Instax Wide simply for its bigger size, printers like Canon's Selfie CP-1300 will deliver even larger and cheaper postcard-sized prints. But that printer is a lot pickier about how and where you use it, and the battery to make it portable is an optional extra. In contrast, like other Instax printers, the Link Wide is truly portable from day one with a built-in battery, no fiddly parts, nor any need to, say, lay it flat during operation. In fact, it even comes with a wrist strap so you can carry it around at events. Indeed, it's this robustness that's part of the Instax charm, and the ability to now print to the wide format only enhances its appeal. Okay, and that's the end of this review. If you found any of it useful, consider showing your support with a like and a follow. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, and that's where you'll find my reviews of other instant cameras and printers if you're interested. So tell me, is the Link Wide the printer you've been waiting for, or do you prefer one of the other shapes? I have to say, I remain fondest of all of the square format, but I do love that we now have printers for all three Instax formats. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.